Guess they forgot who I am and what I represent, what I stand for. It's the king for a fall, but I outshot them all. They ain't talking just material, I'm talking no.
Showboating Sports, Scott Free here. Hey man, we're gonna talk to you guys about Teofimo Lopez versus George Kambosos and what went down this past Saturday night. So before we go any further, make sure you guys like, subscribe, and share this video, man, to keep the channel growing. And that way when I drop new videos, you guys will know about it when it first drops. Anyway, so let's get on about the video. So Teofimo decided he wanted to fight George Kambosos over Devin Haney. Now, when Teofimo beat Lomachenko, he didn't have an ordered mandatory. He could have chosen to fight Devin Haney. But no, what did he do? He wanted to fight George Kambosos because he knew he would be later on be a mandatory. So he figured it'd be an easier guy to fight to get out of the Devin Haney fight, you know, to protect his belts or whatever else. But anyway, so he picked George Kambosos. So all the fiasco that went on between them and Triller and all that other stuff, I'm going to actually do another video about that, about how Triller, and I think that Bob Arum them sabotaged that whole thing to try to knock Triller down just a little bit because they didn't want Triller coming in, overpaying these fighters and taking the market. So I'll do a separate video about that. But like I said, like, subscribe, and share so you'll know when that video drops. But anyway, said all this stuff about how, you know, he wanted to go fight George Kambosos. And I think that was kind of like more of a run to get away from Devin Haney because he thought it was going to be an easier fight. But Teofimo also thought that he would run through Kambosos because his game plan was, when he came out, was he was just going to go right in there and just dog walk Kambosos. He would just run through Kambosos. But you can't just run through these fighters. You know, Teo started believing his own hype that him and his father did. They start thinking that because Bob said he thought that Lomachenko was just as good as Ali. And so Teofimo Lopez and his father, after this loss, said that, well, it's hard to compare Teofimo to Floyd because he has a loss on his belt. What? And I'm going to repeat that. Teofimo Lopez Sr. said that he can't say any longer that Teofimo is just as good as Floyd, if not better, because he has one loss on his record now. Which is it's stupid, man. You comparing this dude to greats when he beat somebody like Loma, who I thought was overrated anyway. I think Loma has some really good skills, but being on the level of Floyd Mayweather, the Canelos, and all that, I don't think he's done enough to get to make it to that point. And especially now that he's 14-2, you know, 16 fights, 2 losses. Nah, man. But anyway, Teo and his father drinking from the same Kool-Aid. Anyway, so Teo's thing was, I'm going to go out and I'm going to knock Kambosos out in the 3rd round. So then he changed it. Was like, man, he probably won't make it out of the 1st round. So he goes in there and he just starts unloading on Kambosos. And the more and more he unloaded on Kambosos, he was leaving himself open. So Kambosos caught him with a really good punch, dropped him down on the mat. And it was more of a flash knockdown than it was just more of Teo being hurt, but it still was a respect shot. He understood that Kambosos wasn't backing down. But Teo done put his mouth, he done put his ego on the line. So he wanted to tell everybody just how good he was and that he can go in there and knock this guy out. Teo has power, but he doesn't have the Tank Davis power. He doesn't have the Wilder power. He doesn't have that kind of power. So I was just like, you know, dude, you got to start pulling back a little bit. You're gonna be tired towards the later rounds because you can see in that fight he looked a whole lot bigger than Kambosos. And I was like, look, dude, you're gonna get tired towards the end somewhere in here. It's bound to happen. But anyway, Kambosos worked the jab. I gave a lot of rounds to Kambosos. I thought some of the rounds were close. But I think Kambosos, he edged it out. And then the rounds that Teo did, I gave like 1 or 2 rounds to Teo that I thought was really dominant on Teo. The round that Teo knocked him down, and I think it was another round that Teo really did well in. But still, with all that being said, he knocked down Kambosos. Kambosos rallied back. And that was in the 10th round. I think Kambosos rallied back, did pretty good, held on, kept his head together. 11th round, I gave it to Kambosos. 12th round, I gave that to Kambosos. And I just think that Teo was up over his head. I don't know if he's just weight drained or what it is, but I do know the thing that I really know is that his game plan sucked. Because even if you couldn't make the weight and you had problems making it and you felt drained or whatever else, but you still came out with the wrong game plan. You came in there trying to knock Kambosos out in the first round, and you should have done it. You should have came out there and set up. You should have worked off the jab. You should have done something a little different. So it was the wrong game plan. So I can't necessarily give you the fact that you had felt like you were just too weight drained. It was just a stupid game plan. So, and that's my thoughts on it. So I want you guys to give me your thoughts on the in the comment section. And tell me what you guys thought. Do you think that Teo had the wrong game plan, or do you think that he's weight drained? What do you guys think it is? Because to me, like I said, in my opinion, he came out with the wrong game plan. He was relying on his father, and I think that they have been drinking the same Kool-Aid, man, because he thought he was going to really go in there and knock that guy out, and that wasn't so. And I knew that. I mean, he should have known that. You're not going to just go knock this dude out who's undefeated, who's never suffered a loss before, and it's going to come in there and is a scrappy fighter like Kambosos. I didn't know a whole lot about Kambosos, but I did go look him up right before the fight and, you know, check him out and see what kind of fighter he was. And I knew he was a scrappy fighter. And I knew he wasn't just going to go in there and lay down, because in his head, he really, really, really wanted to win that bout. And like I said, I think his father, they gave him the wrong game plan in the corner, because when Teo came over and he sat down, you could see the look on his face. You could see the fight in his eyes were leaving a little bit. He was trying to do little gestures and stuff to try to hype himself up. And his dad was like, yeah, man, you got this. Knock this guy out. Knock this guy out. And it was not the right game plan for Teo. So when you say he was weight drained and he was tired, that could be so. But when you come out with the wrong game plan on top of that, you know it's messed up. So anyway, like I said, guys, make sure you guys like, subscribe, and share. Leave your thoughts in my comment section. So until the next video, that was my opinion, straight up, no chasers. So like I said, till the next video, I'm out. Peace.